Hi there. Later, it's Pride in Buenos Aires. First though, a queer asylum seeker claims UK authorities said she'd be safe to return to Kenya, where homosexuality is illegal, if she's discreet about her sexuality. Virginia Wairimu is currently in Birmingham after being abused in her home country for being a lesbian. The 51-year-old tells ITV News she'd been trying to keep a relationship secret, but
somehow it became public and we were attacked, both me and my partner. Then after some time, I started getting threats and then I was attacked in front of my children.
Virginia's first asylum claim was knocked back because officials didn't believe she's queer. She's now having another go and maintains escaping Kenya was her only option.
I was living a very comfortable life. I would not have left my job, my children, my family for anything. Why would I come here to get charity things and go to the food bank? If Kenya was safe, I would be on the next flight.
Nearly 700 people have signed a petition saying let us stay. There's a link in the podcast description. French football team Paris Saint-Germain's being punished for homophobic chanting by some of its supporters. The side's being forced to close part of its stadium during an upcoming game. Comes off the back of suspensions for 4 Paris Saint-Germain players last season for taking part in anti-gay chants. And we've had the Buenos Aires Pride March over the weekend in Argentina. The 33rd event saw more than 1 million people turn out. Also got the announcement for where Europride's going to be in 2027. It's Torino in Italy. Hi there. Later, why Chloe Grace Moretz really is totally kick-ass. First though, a Hooters sports bar in New York State's being sued by a transgender woman for discrimination. Brandy Livingston says the restaurants repeatedly refused to give her a job because of her gender identity and appearance. She tells News 10 staff have also misgendered her as a customer.
I overheard one of the servers talking to one of the managers and said, "Why are you allowing him in the women's restroom?" And the manager said, "Oh, I don't like it any more than you do."
Local human rights authorities have ruled there's sufficient evidence for legal action. In response, Hooters have made claims about her behaviour, which she denies. Mr Beast's lawyers say grooming allegations against trans ex-co-host Ava Chris Tyson are baseless. The 28-year-old was accused of sending inappropriate messages to a teenage boy. Ava was defended by the alleged victim, who called the claims massive lies. A law firm carried out 39 interviews with current and former Mr Beast staff and reviewed more than 4.5 million documents. And Chloe Grace Moretz has come out. The 27-year-old actor, who you'll know from Kick-Ass and the Miseducation of Cameron Post, has been posting on Instagram about the US election, says presidential candidate Kamala Harris would protect her rights as a gay woman. Hi there. Later, Tom Daley's got nits. First though, a new transgender rights laws come into effect in Germany. The Self-Determination Act allows trans, non-binary and intersex people to legally change their gender identity without having to jump through hoops. No more requirements for psychiatric assessments and court hearings. Gabriel Knox-Coney from the German Trans Association tells DW this'll just make life easier.
Imagine not to be able to pay with your card in a store, not be able to go to the doctor and show your insurance without being accused of fraud, or depending on the situation, having the police called on you. With the new law, these day-to-day discrimination situations will fade.
For those aged under 18 who want to self-certify, the rules are different. Parents or legal guardians have to be involved. Botswana's new president is a queer ally. Duma Boko was part of the push that led to same-sex relationships being legalised in the South African country 5 years ago. A landslide election win for his coalition, the Umbrella for Democratic Change, means the Botswana Democratic Party's out of power after nearly 60 years. And we'll end with a little bit of sanity in an uncertain world. Tom Daley's got an immersive knitting exhibition in Tokyo. Fair enough. The gay ex-diver's famed for just how well he handles balls of wool. And Tokyo's where he was seen knocking up a cardigan in his downtime during the Olympics 3 years ago. The exhibition's at Parco Museum from Friday, and Tom's actually there for the first day with a live knitting workshop. Hi there, again. Now, you may not be aware, but there has actually been some good news to come out of the US elections, and in a special extra Pride Daily, that's what we're going to focus on. So then, are now transgender persons to serve in Congress, where America's laws are made, for the first time. Democrat Sarah McBride's been elected to the House of Representatives after winning the seat for Delaware. The 34-year-old tells Reuters she'll be working hard for everyone.
That will be the only way that I can guarantee that while I may be a first, I'm not the last. So I'm not doing this to make history. I'm not doing this to be a trailblazer. I'm doing this to give back. I'm doing this to serve. I'm doing this to make a difference.
Sarah raised more than $3 million for her election campaign. She easily beat her opponent from the Republican Party with about 60% of the vote. In New York, discrimination based on sexual orientation and gender identity has been banned. The Equal Rights Amendment, aka Proposition 1, alters the state constitution and safeguards abortion rights in the state. Republicans were massively opposed, but 2/3 of people have voted in favour. And marriage is no longer described as being between a man and a woman in California. A vote for Proposition 3 removes that language from their state constitution. It now refers to the fundamental right to marry, regardless of sex or race. Queer people have long since been allowed to get married in California, so it's kind of academic, but this just gets rid of a bit of a lingering relic, which is how I'm often described. Hi there. Later, the first ever Pride in the Northern Cape. First though, a transgender teacher from the UK has given the Pope a lovely present, and it's not even Christmas yet. George White's had an audience with him at the Vatican, fancy, handed over a book he's written a chapter for on queer inclusion in the UK's Catholic schools. The 31-year-old outlines to the Just Like You channel the kind of thing he's got in mind.
Making sure that you have a visible inclusion statement somewhere in school, recognising that bullying can take place in the form of homophobia, biphobia, transphobia, and outlining explicitly why they are not acceptable in our community. Church teaching says we must stop unjust discrimination.
George is from St Paul's Catholic School in Leicester and was in a group of trans men meeting the Pope. They're all working to increase inclusivity in the church. Lawmakers in Mali, in Western Africa, have voted to criminalise homosexuality. We don't know yet what kind of punishments there'll be for anyone convicted. The ban still has to be approved by the country's military leaders, who took over after a coup there 4 years ago. Homosexuality is illegal in more than 30 African nations. Some impose the death penalty. And in South Africa, the first ever Pride's been announced in the Northern Cape. It's going to be in Kimberley on November the 30th. The theme for the event is Pride with a Purpose. Kimberley's the capital of the Northern Cape province, and it's a city famous for its big hole. This is the former diamond mine, thought to be the largest hand-excavated hole in all the world. You're welcome. Hi there. Later, how to be the ultimate friend of Dorothy. First though, America's LGBTQ+ voters have deserted Donald Trump. Turns out we're not on board with a man who's incapable of blending in his fake tan. Some stats off the back of the US election show a big fall in support for the next president among queer people. It's dropped from 27% in 2020 to just 12% now. However, the gay Republican on Instagram takes a different view.
I just cast my vote for Donald Trump for the third time. I could not be more happy. I could not have done it with a cleaner conscience. We are fighting back the armies of darkness and corruption that have seized our government, and I could not think of anyone I would rather have leading the People's Party.
Seems entirely stable. 8% of American voters identify as queer. That's doubled since Barack Obama was elected in 2008. Facebook owner Meta's been fined $15 million by South Korea for illegally collecting information about sexual orientation. The country's privacy watchdog says it was shared with thousands of advertisers, along with data about political views and religion. A 4-year investigation's found Meta collected information from nearly 1 million users between 2018 and 2022. And how do you fancy owning a pair of ruby slippers worn by Judy Garland in The Wizard of Oz? Well, forget it, because while they're now up for auction in Dallas, it's thought they'll sell for around $1.5 million. The shoes were missing for 13 years, up till 2018, after being stolen from the Judy Garland Museum in Minnesota. We're also on your smart speaker. Beseech it to play the latest Pride Daily. I'm Kev McGrath. See you Monday.